Hi, so I'm going to demonstrate how to generate a report in Salesforce, the different kinds of reports you can generate, and the different ways you can use them. Now to generate a report or view any report or anything like that, you just go to the Reports tab at the top of the page. Now Salesforce has some default already created reports available here on the left, you can see, but many of these pertain to businesses rather than non-profits, so they're not very useful. So generally you'll click the New Report button. Now these are the different subjects that your report can deal with. The Accounts and Contacts section would be useful, as you can generate reports on contacts, the organizations they're associated with, and just mailing information and things like that, which I'll show in a minute. But if you want to generate a report on any of the custom objects we've created, you'll have to go to the Other Reports section, and then here you can see client visitor matches, organizations, donations are different options there, and there's different things you can explore with that. And then there are other kinds of reports that at this time aren't relevant, but if you do make new objects or functions in Salesforce, they would be useful. So to start, I'll demonstrate a report on contacts. So I'll just click this, the contacts and account, and then I'll hit the Create button down here. Right now there's a filter on this report, so I will just quickly get rid of that to show contacts created since the beginning. So for the contact reports, this currently has a list of all the contacts in the system, and the different fields that are listed here, like first name, last name, mailing street, are all available on this left side panel. So for example, if I decide that if in my report I don't want to report on their email, for example, I can just take this field and drag it back into this left-hand panel, and that will no longer appear in the report, that information. But if, for example, I decide that I want to have the birth date information in this report, I can click this button and drag it in here, and then for the contacts where that information is available, it will list that information in this report now. And as you saw before, you can generate filters for reports. So if, for example, I want to look at all contacts that live in Philadelphia, I can create a filter on their mailing city. Their mailing city. Yes. And I can say equal to Philadelphia, as not all of them, as you can see, live in Philadelphia. And then when I click the OK button, it will then only show contacts who have Philadelphia named as their mailing city. And this can be, you can generate a filter based on every field, based on time, as you saw earlier, based on zip code, phone number. There's many different options there. So now if I click the Run Report button, it will generate a formal version of what we were just looking at. And if I wanted to export this information to Excel, I would click the Export Details button and hit Export, and then this would simply import this data to Excel in a clear format, where if you wanted to run a sort and filter function on this, you could do that. But now, going back to what we were looking at, you can hit the Done button, and now coming back to the final report, you can also save reports actually by hitting the Save As button. You can call this Philadelphia Contacts. And then you may save this report. So now actually, because we've just saved a report that can be viewed later, coming back to the report tab, the initial page you view, this is now available as recently viewed reports, and if I go to my personal custom reports, it will be listed there until I delete it. So then if I click on this, it will pull up that same information, and reports automatically will update when you open them. So for example, if I were to add a new contact that lives in Philadelphia, when I click this report after that creation, that new contact will be in that report. But as this is not useful at this moment, I can just delete this report. And just to look at maybe one more report, I'll hit New Report, go into the Other Report section because I want to look at the donations custom object we made, and I'll hit the Create button. Now, if I wanted to look up donations based on amount, for example, currently we only have one donation in the system right now that's valued at $600, but if we add a filter, and for example, if we wanted to view some of the larger donations, we could set a filter where the dollar amount is greater than $300, for example. And when we hit OK, that field will still be there because it does meet that requirement. And then if we wanted to edit that filter or delete it, we would just hover over that line right there, hit Edit or Remove. In this case, we'll just edit it for now, and I can say we want to see donations less than 300. So now when we hit OK, that item is removed because the $600 amount exceeds the threshold set by the filter. And again, if we wanted to export it or save it, we'd hit the Run Report button and follow the same steps as before. So that is all about the general creation of reports. So they're very useful in Salesforce, and they can be helpful for getting new information.